Hey guys, it's Casey, and today we are going to talk about my reading plans for October. So I have not done a sit-down film a video in like 3 weeks because everything has been so crazy and so hectic and I have been so incredibly busy. But I really wanted to go ahead and film this TBR and get it out before it was unreasonably late. So let's start off by checking in on last month's TBR. Last month's TBR I did not get finished. There were honestly 3 books on my 6-book TBR that did not get read. I did not get to Rat Queens Volume 3. I did not get to Fool's Fate, and I did not get to Winter by Marissa Meyer because I had a heck of a month. I did not get much reading done. And honestly, I think the same is probably going to be true for this month too. For this month, I went ahead and continued to do my 6 rolls. So for those of you who don't know, the way I choose my TBRs, I roll some dice 6 different times to give myself a number 1 through 100, which corresponds to a prompt, and then I have to pick a book that fits that prompt. So for October, I went ahead and did my 6 rolls, but if the things continue like they have been, I seriously doubt I'm actually going to get all 6 of them done. And if October goes about the same as September did, I might consider scaling that back to like 4 or 5 rolls instead for November. But we'll see what happens. Honestly, I have not read a book in 8 days, which is the longest I've gone without reading since the middle of 2019. So yikes. So we're gonna go ahead and start and jump in with roll number 1. All right, let's go ahead and do roll number 1. Oh God, it was a 29. You all saw that it was a 29. And I just decided to knock it across the box. Anyway, 29. So roll number 1 was a 29, which corresponds to first person narrative. So I am going to take this opportunity to fix last month's mistakes, and I am going to hopefully read Fool's Fate by Robin Hobb. So this is the 3rd book in the Tawny Man trilogy, which is the 3rd series in Robin Hobb's greater Realm of the Elderlings universe. And this series is first-person perspective. It follows our main character, Fitz. And Fitz in the original series, the Farseer trilogy, is the bastard son of the King-in-Waiting Prince Chivalry. Fitz is dropped off on the steps of the palace and Chivalry abdicates the throne in shame, but Fitz is raised in the palace by the stable master and eventually is trained to become the royal assassin. And so this Tawny Man series follows the events of the Farseer trilogy and takes place later on in Fitz's life. And this is the 3rd and final book of this series. Every book in this series has been absolutely wrecking me. I've given both of them 5 stars so far. It is so good, and I know this one is gonna hurt me so much. And last month I wanted to read it, like this was my highest priority, but it was so long that I just never got around to starting it, and therefore it did not even come close. I haven't started this book, so we're gonna put it on October's TBR and hopefully I get to it because I really do want to finish the Tawny Man series. Because after that, there's only 2 more series in the Realm of the Elderlings for me, which is kind of wild. But I'm enjoying this one so much, I really want to finish it. Roll number 2. Roll number 2, I rolled a 16, and a 16 is a book about space. So because I know I'm not going to get through a lot of pages this month, I tried to pick some shorter books, Fool's Fate aside. So for this book about space, I'm picking Descender Volume 2. So this is the 2nd book in the Descender graphic novel series by Jeff Lemire and Dustin Nguyen, and it is a sci-fi graphic novel series in which there are these giant robot android things called harvesters who have gone through and tried to wipe out all of galactic life. The main character of this is this android named Tim who somehow holds the key to stopping them, so it's a bunch of people kind of looking for him. And I read the 1st volume back in August, I think, and I really liked it, and I wanted to continue this in September, but again, September was a huge flop. This wasn't on the TBR, but we're putting it on October's. I really enjoyed this. The art style is kind of this strange, like, watercolor situation. It's a really interesting art style. I enjoyed the 1st volume a lot. I'm excited to get to this, and it's short, it's a graphic novel. We love to see it. Roll number 3. 5. Roll number 3 got us a 5, which is a mystery thriller, which was very much not what I wanted this month. I have no interest in reading a mystery or a thriller or anything like that. So I tried to think of like careful workarounds for this prompt, and ultimately I thought about doing a graphic novel instead of a full book, like a full novel. And so for that, I'm going to be reading Abbott by Saladin Ahmed. So this I know basically nothing about the plot. Oh, that's the library receipt. I know that this was on Spoopy Hall's recommendation video for queer graphic novels, which is why it's been on my radar. I know this is a mystery, and our main character is investigating some sort of series of murders. It just says grisly crime, so who knows. But then ultimately it ends up being some sort of supernatural occult forces. So this is a mystery thriller, it is a graphic novel, and it is fantasy, and it is queer. So like, it checks a lot of boxes that might make a mystery thriller more up my alley this month. I'm not familiar with this really at all. She is the only person I've seen talking about it. I'm gonna link that video down below because like several of the things I've read this year have come from that video. Yeah, I don't know. I've heard good things about this from her, but I haven't heard a lot of people talking about this. But it is gonna fulfill mystery thriller and prevent me from having to read an entire mystery book this month when I am aggressively not feeling like doing so. Roll number 4. 26. Roll number 4 was a 26, which is usually one of my favorite prompts on my entire list, which is thievery or crime fantasy. That is like my favorite subgenre. I love heist stories. I love fantasies involving like thieves and crime groups. Like that is so my bag. But I wasn't sure what I wanted to read for that this month. But ultimately, I think what I'm gonna do is I'm going to read Foundry Side by Robert Jackson Bennett. So I just got this from the library, so I'm like trying to hold it at an angle that is not impossibly shiny. So this is one I've had my eye on for a long time, but like never have bitten the bullet and started reading. So for this prompt, I was trying to decide between this, the second book in the Lies of Locke Lamora series, and like a couple of other ones that were on my radar, but ultimately I think this is what I'm feeling right now. I don't know what I'm feeling. It is a weird reading time for me personally, but Foundry Side is, she says reading the flap because she can't describe anything today. I know Foundry Side is a adult fantasy book about our main character who is a thief, and I know the magic in this world involves like decoding objects. Like each object has sort of like a language, and if you can crack that code or crack that language, you can communicate with objects and get them to work for your will, like kind of get them to do what you want. To some extent, I don't totally understand. Yeah, coded commands objects with sentience. Okay, see, I'm better at this than I thought I was. Okay, so it looks like our main character goes to steal an artifact, and one of the houses wants her dead to steal the artifact for themselves. That's all I know about this. I've been really interested in this. I've heard a lot of really good things about it. I've lately heard some more mixed reviews, which is part of why it got back on my radar. But this definitely, our main character is a thief. It's a fantasy series. It definitely fits the prompt. And it is one that's been on my list for a hot minute to read. Next one, roll number 5? Yeah, 5. I'm counting. 20. Rolling a lot of 20s today. Roll number 5 was a 20, which is a fantasy book by a BIPOC author. So for that, I'm going to be picking one of the newer books that I've gotten recently, and that is Black Sun by Rebecca Rowanhorse. So this is one that involves a lot of gods and prophecies and things like that, which sounds like very much up my alley. This came out last year and a lot of people have been raving about this. I know this is going to be a series, and a lot of people have said that although this feels like a setup book, they truly thoroughly enjoyed it and are very excited for the rest of the series. I don't know when the other ones come out, but this has been on my radar for so long and I'm so excited to read it. So this says it is set in pre-Columbian America, and it follows this event that is supposed to happen on the winter solstice, which apparently this year coincides with a eclipse. And that eclipse is supposed to mean that the world is unbalanced and the gods are going to intervene. And the flap doesn't tell me that much more than that. And so I have heard people talking about this and enjoying this. And this cover is absolutely stunning, and I just really want to read this book. Oh, the text is big, thank God. I was a little stressed out about how many big books were on this. So part of the little description on the flap just says, Book 1 of the Between Earth and Sky trilogy, inspired by the civilizations of pre-Columbian Americas and woven into a tale of celestial prophecies, political intrigue, and forbidden magic. Prophecies and political intrigue are both things that I am extremely here for, so I am very excited to get to this one. I think it's gonna be really good. And the final roll number 6. That was aggressive. 83. So 83. Then our final roll number 6 was an 83, and this is the highest rated book on my TBR. So I was a little nervous when I rolled this one because I thought there was a decent chance it was going to be a really long fantasy book and I wasn't going to be able to fit it in this month, and I was all stressed about it, but no. Turns out the highest rated book on my owned TBR is My Hero Academia Volume 2, which I am so happy about because one, I've actually gotten back into watching this anime, which makes me want to catch up on the manga. And obviously if I'm on volume 2, I am not even close to being caught up, but I've been really in a graphic novel manga mood. So that's also good. And two, it's short. I can do this in one sitting. It means I might get closer to actually finishing my TBR this month. But honestly, like, I went onto my Goodreads shelf, I sorted it by average rating. This was it. This was honestly the highest. I was so happy because this was the one I wasn't really gonna get like that much of a choice on. So My Hero Academia is set in a world where about 80% of the population have started to manifest something called a quirk, which is basically a superpower. And this follows our main character, Izuku Midoriya, who is born without a quirk but desperately wants to be a hero. And very early on, he meets his idol, the #1 hero, All Might, who tells him that he can pass his quirk on to Midoriya and allow him to become the hero that he's always wanted to be. And that is what this story is about, and I really love it. I'm very excited to keep going with it, and I'm also very excited that it's not long. So those are all of the prompts that I had to roll for, which means that this is my rolled TBR. And this on any given month would be completely doable, except I have been so incredibly overwhelmed that we'll see what happens. I do think this is doable if I can stop, I don't want to call it a slump, but if I can stop slumping, then this is doable. So that is my TBR for October. If you've read any of these, please chat with me about them down below. I need the excitement, I need the energy to really get into this month because I did not get into last month in that last half. That was rough. But I think that's all I've got for you guys today. If you want to keep up with what I'm reading, I have a link to my Goodreads down in the description below. But other than that, I will see you guys next time.